Okay, hello. Today we're going to do another deck tech of one of the Commander Legends commanders. Today we're going to look at Obeka Brute Chronologist. Doesn't do a lot, but it's a pretty cool ability when you abuse it to the highest extent. So pretty much its ability is if you tap it, the players whose turn it is may end the turn. Ending the turn is a very rare ability on Magic cards, but pretty much what it does is it ends the turn and everything that would happen doesn't happen. It's a pretty cool card, and I made a pretty cool deck about it. So the whole point behind this deck is to have a whole bunch of downsides with really powerful effects that you never actually have to deal with because you end the turn before they would actually go into effect. For example, cards like Warriors or Oath that lets you take an extra turn, but as a downside, at the end of that turn you would lose. But so pretty much what happens is you take the extra turn, and at the end of that turn you end your turn, so you don't actually have to lose the game, but you get an extra turn for 2 mana. Okay, so we're just gonna go down deck list and we're gonna do a playtest at the end. See how well it works. So we have a whole bunch of stuff that has at the end of the turn something bad happens or etc. giving bad stuff to other players. So first we got Cauldron Dance, which is a 6 mana card, which pretty much what happens is during combat you may return a creature card from a graveyard to the battlefield and a creature from your hand to the battlefield. And pretty much what's supposed to happen, you're supposed to exchange them at the end. But if you end the turn at the end, you just get a card from your hand on the battlefield and a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with no downside. It's pretty cool. We got Domineering Will. This card helps with a lot of different things because pretty much what you gotta do is you get to let them take control of 2 of your worst cards, quote unquote worst cards, that have the downside, so they have to deal with them without power of actually dealing with them. Or you could take some of the other people's cards and you can end the turn so that you don't actually have to give them back. We got Final Fortune, which is the same thing as Warrior's Oath, same ideology. Glorious End, same kind of thing. Goro's Vengeance pretty much just lets you return target legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature has haste, and then pretty much what you do is if Obeka leaves, you return it, and then you tap it because it has haste, and then you get to get it in for free. Mockery pretty much just get creature from opponents onto play under your control. Release into the wind, pretty much exile something forever. Wrong turn, pretty much what it does is it just lets you get rid of some of your garbage. Okay, so lands are just normal basics because I don't want to have to deal with land bases. Artifacts, we have Bolas's Citadel. We got Grafted Skull Clamp, which we don't actually have to discard hand at the end. So we get a lot of card advantage. We got Mimic Vat, so we don't actually have to exile at the beginning of the next end step. Soul Ring for some good ramp, and then Witch Called Talesman to get some of our worst stuff. And then we also got a whole bunch of creatures. We got Apprentice Necromancer, which is pretty much 1 mana, tap it, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, gains haste. Avarius Dragon, same thing as that Skull Clamp, but we don't have to do that. Bizarre Trader lets us give away our worst stuff as a tap ability. Blim pretty much has the same strategy as Obeka, so it's good in this deck. Doom Whisper lets us dig through our deck. Trotta, pretty much, since it's a different sentence and a different ability, we get to end the turn before the ability is fully over, and we don't actually have to shuffle into our deck. We got Felden of the Third Path, which is pretty much create a token that's a copy of target creature in your graveyard. It's an artifact, it gains haste, but you don't have to sacrifice it. Hellkite Courser pretty much just lets our guy come back for free and lets us end all of our bad stuff. And we don't actually have to return it to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step because we end the turn. Hostage Taker pretty much just lets us do a whole bunch of shenanigans. Identity Thief, really good because we can just exile stuff every single time it attacks. We got Illard, pretty much lets put stuff onto the battlefield and then without consequences. Crick is a good card, ramps us a whole bunch. Croxa, we don't have to sacrifice it. Lightning, Skelemental, it's pretty good because we can keep it to block on the next opponent's turn. Plague Reaver is pretty good because we can keep it on our side, and we don't actually have to do that, so we get a 3-mana 6/5, which is pretty powerful. And then if we wanna discard 2 cards and sacrifice it, we can choose it and then choose an opponent and let them deal with it. It's pretty good. Perforos is pretty good because we don't actually have to sacrifice it. Vexing Devil's pretty good because we could just counter the ability altogether and just get a 1-mana 4/3. We got Villas, draws us a whole bunch of cards. And we also got Zara, which is pretty shenanigans. It's pretty much when Zara attacks, look at defending player's hand. You put a creature card from the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. Return that creature to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Yeah, we're just gonna skip that. Return it to their hand. Okay, we got a whole bunch of sorceries also. We got Donate. We got Harmless Offering. We got Hate Mirage, so we get to copy 2 creatures for 4 mana. We got Ideas Unbound, draws us 3 cards for 2 mana, but we don't have to discard them. Kindred Charge pretty much lets us make a whole bunch of tokens and then keep them around. Last Chance, same thing as Warrior's Oath. Slave of Bolas gains control of something and taps it, gives it haste, and we don't have to sacrifice it. Voidwalk, it's pretty good because we get to exile something, but we don't have to return it back under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step, and we get to cipher something. So whenever we deal damage to something, we get to exile their commander, and then we don't return it back. We got Warrior's Oath, is just the Warrior's Oath. We also got 2 Chandra Planeswalkers. Both of them make tokens that would sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step, but we'll just skip that, it's fine. We also have a few powerful enchantments. We have As Foretold to give us some free cards. Curse Obsession, we don't have to sacrifice it. It's a pretty powerful aura, draws us some card. Demonic Lure is good because it draws us 3 cards and we don't have to have the downside. It's also a really good card to give away. Demonic Pact is really good because we don't actually have to lose the game if we don't want to. We could just counter that ability altogether. Or, if we don't want to go with that, we could give it to the opponent and then make them have to deal with it. Elemental Mastery is pretty good because same thing with the tokens, we don't have to remove them. Endless Whispers is pretty good because we could just counter whenever our creature would die. So they don't get it, but we do. Energy Field pretty much prevents us from dying, really good. Flame Shadow pretty much makes us a whole bunch of tokens, but we don't have to sacrifice them. Greed draws some cards. This dude right here comes into play, you sacrifice unless you sacrifice 4 creatures. What we could do is we could pretty much just counter that ability altogether. Icy Prison's pretty good because we get to remove target creature from the game. And then if we would have to sacrifice it, we could just counter the ability. Mirror March just makes us so many tokens. Psychic Vortex, it says at the end of each of your turns, sacrifice land, discard your hand. We could counter that ability, so we're just going to draw a whole bunch of cards. Risky Move's really powerful because what we gotta do is we gotta, whenever you gain control of it, you gotta choose a creature and opponent controls. If you flip the coin, it just like makes a whole bunch of shenanigans. You gotta do a whole bunch of cool stuff. Splinter Twin's really good because we don't actually have to exile the next end step. Underworld Reach is broken because we don't have to sacrifice it, so we just gotta draw our entire graveyard. Valka Exploration draws a whole bunch of cards. Alright, so that's the deck, so we're gonna do a quick playtest of the deck. Okay, now this seems like a good hand. So turn 1, we play 1, we play Vexing Devil. They're probably just gonna pay 2 damage and then I'll sacrifice it. That's okay. I draw a card. I play a blue land. I pass. Next turn, untap. Play a black land. Save that for later. Draw a card. Play land. Play commander. Next turn, draw a card. Untap. Play land. Play Furfros. Draw a card. Untap. Play land. We're going to pay 3 mana with Furfros, and we're going to put our creature down. It's going to gain haste, so it attacks. I exile their commander, and then I'm going to Tap this at the end to counter the ability that makes me have to sacrifice it, and the ability that makes it come back in control. So we've just exiled their commander. We go the next turn, we untap, we play a land, we untap all of our creatures. We could play Hellkite's Courser, which lets us put our commander in, but we're going to cast it with Furfurous to give it haste. We would attack with it, and we would also attack with this, exile their commander, and then stop all the bad triggers, making me have to sacrifice the creature I put in and return their creature into play. I could do Hate Mirage and take their creatures. Everything's pretty powerful. And then the game just plays out like that. I take their best creatures, I exile everything constantly, and I can play stuff for free and all the bad stuff that would happen to me. We could take extra turns, a whole bunch of stuff happens. Okay, so I think you get the point. Deck's pretty fun. You could pretty much counter everything that bad would ever happen, and then when you would least expect it, you just give all your bad stuff to the person sitting next to you, and then they lose the game by all the terrible stuff that you're playing. This deck's pretty fun. I suggest it because Obeka is a pretty cool character and has a really unique ability. And hope you like the deck. It was a lot of fun to make, and goodbye.